So let's just say that you get the majority of your work done on a laptop and you're looking for some cool accessories to complement your everyday computing task. Well, that's what this video is all about. We went on a shopping spree to find some of the coolest accessories that can come in clutch in certain situations. And some of the items that you're about to see in this video are actually my personal favorites. And those are some of the things that I use pretty much every day. So let's hop right in. All right, first up on the list is a simple webcam cover. It attaches to the laptop via an adhesive layer at the back, and its primary function is to cover your webcam when it's not in use. And if you need to use it for meetings, you can simply slide the cover to expose the camera and you're good to go. It's only 0.6 millimeters thick, so you wouldn't have to worry about closing the laptop's lid. However, I will say that with modern laptops these days coming with bezel-less displays, you might actually have some trouble installing this just given the lack of bezels for the adhesive to actually stick onto. A great example would be this Razorbook 13. I mean, there's just no way for me to install this webcam cover. The same goes for my XPS 15. It's a no-go. But if you're on a slightly older machine like a MacBook or something that actually has bezels, a lot of them, then it works really, really well. Next up is this USB Type-C to USB Type-A adapter from Nanda. Now, this is a two-pack variant, and you can pick it up in different colors like space gray, silver, rose gold, and yes, that's supposed to complement the MacBooks from Apple, but nothing stops us from using this on a Windows laptop because modern devices these days do come with Type-C that support either Thunderbolt 3 or USB 3.2 Gen 2 spec, and this thing supports that. As you can see, the transfer speeds are exactly the same, so you're not losing anything in terms of bandwidth. Plus, if you have a laptop that only features USB Type-C ports, like something like the XPS 17, which I personally use on a regular basis, this is excellent. This is a great pick because if you have accessories that feature USB Type-A, then yeah, these will come in super handy. Now, this next item is something that I consider essential for laptops. It's a laptop and screen cleaner from OXO, and it comes in this portable form factor, so it's easier to just tuck it into your backpack. So on one side, you have this retractable brush that can be used to dust off part of the keys where there's dust particles and debris and things like that. And then on the other side, there's this little cap that covers a microfiber cloth, which can be used to simply wipe off the dust on the display. You can also use this to wipe off the smudges on your smartphone. So yeah, it's such an awesome, nice little tool to have as an everyday carry. I really like it. I definitely think that this is a worthy pickup. Next up is the SanDisk Dual Drive. Technically, this is a flash drive, and you can pick it up in different storage sizes ranging from 16 gigabytes all the way up to 256 gigabytes. The main trick up its sleeve is the fact that it's got a retractable USB Type-C connector on one end and a USB Type-A connector on the other. So this makes it easier to transfer files between a laptop or smartphone to a desktop or the other way around. Honestly, I just cannot emphasize how many times this has come in handy here at the studio, especially when I transfer data logs from thin and light laptops, which only feature USB Type-C for the most part, to my desktop. It's such an awesome little thing. And the cool thing is that if you have a smartphone and if you want to offset some of the data like photos and videos to your desktop, then this is such an awesome accessory because you just have to simply plug this into your smartphone, offset some of the data using the SanDisk Memory Zone app, and then pop it into your desktop, back it up, and you're good to go. Now, given that most of us work from home these days, chances are you might also be working in a poorly lit environment where there isn't a lot of light, and given how crappy laptop webcams are these days, a quickest and cheapest way to improve your video quality is by adding more light. And that's where this selfie LED ring light comes in. There is a button right next to that port that cycles between different color temperatures to suit your style, and if you hold that button, you can adjust the brightness level. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind before you pull the trigger on something like this. Firstly, if you have a laptop with thinner bezels, and when you clip this on, it's going to cover a portion of the display, which might be a little annoying. Secondly, if you're wearing glasses like I am, and if you turn this thing on, you're going to see the ring light just reflect off of those glasses, which doesn't look that pleasing, at least to me, but if that's okay with you, then I guess that shouldn't be a problem. But other than that, it does get the job done, especially if you're working in a low-lit environment, and it adds a little bit of light. Plus, you can also use it on a smartphone to take better quality selfies. Next up, we have the Jellycomb 2.4G wireless mouse. Now, you might be asking yourselves, Eber, it's a mouse. What's so cool about it? Well, if you're tired of wireless mice to feature a USB Type-C receiver, I've actually got some good news for you. This one actually does, and it's pretty low profile, so it's perfect for thin and light laptops. And as a bonus, you also get a USB Type-A adapter, so you can leave one on your desktop and then leave the Type-C on your laptop and then switch back and forth by just pressing this button right over here. And it works really, really well. There is a nice little compartment to store these adapters, which is convenient for travel. And the mouse is powered by a AA battery. Keep in mind that it does not include one, so you'll have to arrange that separately. Also, there is no Bluetooth support. As for the mouse itself, it's pretty basic. The body is mostly made out of plastic, and the primary left and right buttons feel mushy. In other words, it's the opposite of tactile. Matter of fact, just take a listen for yourselves. They actually market this as one of their features in the product webpage, so yeah, it's interesting. There is a DPI shift button right beside the scroll wheel that cycles between 1000, 1500, 2000, and 2400, and tracking has been pretty good from my everyday usage. I wouldn't use this for gaming particularly, but if you just want something for general use, this will get the job done. Plus, you know, that Type-C is just awesome. All right, so this next item is something that I thought would be a nice giggle for you guys. This is the Elec Space wireless mouse shaped like a ladybug. Now, when I saw this on Amazon, I thought to myself, I needed to have this. I needed to try it out to see if it's actually good, any good, but also it's so cute. Now, this isn't a Bluetooth mouse. It only uses a 2.4 gigahertz wireless receiver, and there is a nice little compartment where you can store that. And also keep in mind that it's powered by a single AAA battery. Now, this isn't a practical mouse by any stretch of the imagination because I experienced some weird lift-off distance. It's actually pretty horrible. So yeah, gaming or just even regular usage, this is, it's trash. Also, there is a DPI shift button that's kind of like, you know, it's hidden right over here, which is, I think it's well thought out, but you know, it's something that I would use as a prop, not definitely as a main mouse. So yeah. Next up, we have something called the Mushroom Stand. Actually, that's what it says on the box, but it's really a portable laptop stand. Basically, you get these two risers that are magnetically attached to each other for portability. And once you detach it, you can simply place it on your desk and then rest your laptop on top of it, which results in a slightly elevated angle, so you get a more comfortable viewing and typing experience. Plus, it also helps with airflow, which is a nice bonus. Now, the stands themselves are wrapped in the silicone material, so it does a pretty good job holding the laptop in place. Now, I will say that the stainless steel O-rings that are over here do tend to come off easily, so you're better off removing them and then using it as is. But yeah, other than that, you know, this is a nice little accessory to have if you want to get a more ergonomic laptop setup. Moving on, we have a USB-C charger from RAVPower. Now, what's really cool about this charger is that it features two USB Type-C ports that support PD charging up to 65 watts, and there are two USB Type-A ports that can be used to charge your smartphone or your tablet. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind before you pull the trigger on something like this. The first thing is to make sure that your laptop actually supports PD charging. Most modern laptops do come with a Type-C port, but if you want to make sure that your laptop features it, you can just go to your manual or your product webpage for your respective laptop and just check to see if it supports PD. The Razorbook 13 that I have over here supports it up to 65 watts, so this works perfectly. The other thing to keep in mind is that the power output distribution can vary depending on how many ports you actually use at the same time. So if you're using both Type-C ports at once, you're only going to get 45 watts and 18 watts respectively, or if you're using all the ports, you won't be able to get the full power delivery for your laptop. Now, the charger itself is pretty compact. It's smaller than the OEM charger that Razer provides for the Book 13, so that's pretty cool. Keep in mind that you do not get a USB Type-C to Type-C cable in the box to charge your laptop. That's something that you'll have to purchase separately, and you have to make sure that you get an E-Mark certified cable like this one that supports up to 100 watts, but it will support 65 watt PD charging. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Next up, we have a portable battery bank from RAVPower. Now, the cool thing about this power bank is that it comes with a USB Type-C port that supports PD charging up to 60 watts, which is nice, especially if you want to charge your laptop when it's inside your backpack. Now, I wouldn't necessarily use this if you're just using this thing intensely, if you're editing a video or just doing some intensive tasks, because it only supports 60 watt PD charging. And if you're using something that supports 65 watts, you won't be able to get the full potential of that CPU. So it's really meant for charging your laptop and not really running something off of it. I think you could do idle tasks if you want to just extend your battery life, but nothing intensive. I wouldn't go crazy on this solution. So the last accessory that we have for you guys is a laptop fan cooler. Now, this isn't one of those traditional cooling pads where you get this large fan at the bottom. But instead, it's a side mounting solution that just attaches to the side vent of your laptop. Now, out of the box, you get the cooler itself, a USB cable to power the fan, a plastic plate for temporarily mounting the unit, a metal junction plate with 3M adhesive mount and foot pads for a permanent setup, and silicone shrouds for different sized laptops. Setting it up is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is find the right silicone shroud for your laptop that fits appropriately, attach it to the cooler, and then pop on the plastic plate at the bottom and place it next to the side vent and use the pre-installed clips to secure the cooler in place. Then you just have to connect the included USB cable to power on the cooler. The cooler itself comes with an LED display that shows the temperature in either Celsius or Fahrenheit. That can be adjusted by holding the M button for 3 seconds. There's also an auto setting that's enabled by default. When you power on the cooler, it adjusts the fan speeds based on temperatures, but you can set the speeds manually by pressing the plus and minus button right over here. The RPM range is between 2600 and 5000, which does get really, really loud. You seriously need some noise canceling headphones because, yeah, it's really loud. Now, one thing to consider is compatibility, because this is not meant to work with every single laptop that's out there in the market. It's only specifically designed with laptops with a clear side vent or a rear vent where you can attach the shroud over here. In fact, if you go through the product page of this cooler, it'll tell you what kind of laptops it'll support. Obviously, you can't use this on a thin and light laptop like the Razorbook 13, but anything that's 0.8 inches or 20 millimeters thicker will work perfectly fine. But yeah, this is, like I said, compatibility is certainly going to depend from one laptop to the other. So make sure what style your laptop is and then look at the product page and see if this would work. Now, I did end up testing this on an Asus Zephyrus. Oddly, the side vent on my Asus laptop is on the right-hand side. So when you have this positioned that way, the LCD display is going to be facing the other way around. So you can't really see the settings, which is really, really weird. But I guess at this point, you guys are interested in the results to see if it actually works. So let's take a look at temperatures over time. And as you can see, without the cooler installed, the CPU temps spike all the way up to 87 degrees Celsius. And then a few minutes later, they dip back around 81°C. But with the cooler installed and set to auto mode, it still spikes to 87, but as time goes on, it dips down to 79 degrees, which is a few degrees cooler than before. Now with the fan set to 3800 RPM, it brings down the CPU temps by a few more degrees, and then when you max out the RPM at 5000, the CPU temps get even lower at around 75 degrees Celsius. Now, I was curious to see if this would affect clock speeds, but that didn't really happen, and it makes sense because this all depends from one laptop to the other. If you have a laptop with a CPU that runs really hot, and if that throttles CPU frequencies, then something like this can help dissipate that heat and potentially boost those clock speeds. But in my case, with the Ryzen 7 3750H, it made no difference. This is a cool accessory, that's for sure. And I love the fact that even in one of their product pages, they made it look like the front grille of a Ferrari sports car. So, I mean, you know, it gets the job done and it's a cool accessory, but I'm gonna let you guys take the call on this one. You know, do you find this thing particularly cool? So there you have it, guys. Some cool accessories for your laptop. Let me know what you guys think if you found any of these interesting. Like I said earlier, some of these items that you've seen are things that I use on a regular basis. So on that note, thank you so much for watching.